Pura vida, amigos. Welcome to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. And I'm Matthew Human, your host. We're here at Finca Vida Verde, of course, as always. And today my guest is Kyle Perry. Kyle Perry is a friend of mine that I met through Network in Tennessee. He's a natural farmer, the founder of the Native Soil Company, which is a living soil company based outside Nashville, Tennessee. He's also an entrepreneur of various things and a recent transplant to the Machuca Valley. So it's going to be a fun conversation. Kyle's a great guy. I'm looking forward to this. So get ready. Here we go. Okay, Kyle, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here at the La Vida Verde podcast.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, bro. It's great to have you. So I met Kyle. Kyle actually is an integral part of this farm now because he saved my booty last year when I was on tour. The farm was sitting here alone. Somebody had to leave on a short notice, and I was like putting this out to the universe, like literally, like I need somebody immediately, God. And it's just like, I never thought, I mean, I really was hoping and praying, and like, I mean it. And I put it up on Facebook, the Oracle, and that next day I got a message from this guy, Kyle Perry. And I was just like, okay, who is this dude? Oh, he's got dreadlocks. I don't know. Like, who is this guy? But actually, Kyle was really good friends with some of our very close friends, Jenny and Josh, who are great farmers in Nashville, Tennessee, good friends of mine. And I called Jenny. I'm like, Jenny, what do you think? She's had nothing but lovely, glowing things to say about Kyle. And
they're amazing.
Yeah, she's right. She's right. It's turned out to be amazing. So thank you. You saved our farm. He showed up here like literally the next 2 days later. He was on a plane down here taking care of my cat for a month in the rain. And which is hard. It's not easy to show up here. What was your experience showing up here in the rain, actually?
Well, it was at night. And raining, so
not the prettiest picture of Finca Vida Verde.
No, but you know, it was just part of the experience of getting here. And then when the sun popped up in the morning, and you know, really able to see everything, I just knew that it was right. And thank you again because you've saved my life too. Being here, the farm changed my life.
Changed your direction.
Absolutely, it did. Yeah,
but it wasn't lovely how this works. Yeah, and so like one of the things I knew about you before I came, like, was in studying you, was you talked about the Native Soil Company, which was I knew this because I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'd seen the logo, I'd seen the bags, and actually I think I've seen it in Oregon. That was your company? So this is your company that was based in Nashville, but you were nationally distributed, or?
Yeah, we were in about 11 different states at one point in time, and just kind of getting around and out there. There's lots of great soil companies, trying to differentiate us through the millions of others, is a tough thing. What makes native soil different than other soils? And a lot of that was creating the inputs and making these inputs that were going into the soil ourselves instead of, buying a lot of them.
Right, like external fertilizers and like doing that. Mm-hmm. And that as I've gotten to know you, like one of the things I came home to on the farm, which I was totally just pleasantly surprised, was this what is it called? The
IMOs?
IMOs. Well, I didn't know anything about IMOs, okay? IMOs are not GMOs. We just had a long talk with Orange Shadell about about like GMOs and biotechnology. So this is a nice alternative because Kyle, you're very into natural farming and organic farming, like traditional methods.
Yeah, these methods are they're easy. We want to keep them simple, keep effective, scientific, and easy.
Scientifically proven.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, there's scientific facts that are based a lot of this. However, these systems and some of the ways that we do things go against how, in the past 60 years, how agriculture has changed. And so, having an open heart and an open mind really, just changed my life as well. Natural farming is a lifestyle. And so, the integration with Mother Nature through making your own inputs, we are even ingesting our own inputs. Fermented fruit juice is absolutely delicious on your granola or pancakes in the morning. But this is something that you made from your farm and, your fruits.
That's right. I came home and there was like a big batch of jackfruit vinegar, which I still have some, which is, I've never in my life had jackfruit vinegar. So that was super cool. And then the IMO stuff, that's like derived from Korean natural farming, right? And you said, if I remember, so Kyle taught a couple workshops here, and in one of those, he was talking about how, I think you said you stayed up for like, you have to mix it every hour or something like that?
So watching your IMO pile, you have to keep some eyes on it, for, depending on, temperature and stuff like that, about 3 days. So I was up for 3 days, watching this pile and turning it before it hits a certain temperature. And so, but that's part of it. And doing this with other farmers is a great way to, to know your fellow friends, tell stories, cut up a little bit. And, and those experiences really let us bond with our farmers, because our farmers are our friends. We all need to be together in this. We're all in this together, not pitting farmers against farmers, whether they use this type of method or they use another type of method. And so
I love that idea of bringing people together through agriculture, because we all eat, and yet so many people are not producing their own food. It's like, but so the more we're doing that, that's really amazing. And like I said, you taught Korean natural farming workshops here, have been helping out on the farm. So I've learned so much just from having you here. And and I remember you said something about like one of the basis of KNF, which Korean natural farming is keeping it cheap and simple, right? I mean, that's the whole
low cost.
Low cost.
There's many great agricultural products out there. These things, unfortunately, are mostly water. They come in a plastic container, and what are they really doing? Why can't you create something on your farm that is specific to your farm? Microorganisms from Oregon are a lot different than Tennessee or Costa Rica. So we want
Valley versus San Jose.
Yeah, I mean, even 15 feet, the biology is different, and so giving this type of power back to the farmers is very important. And these types of methods, they're very very low cost and easy. Farming can be confusing, pH and, the correct nitrogen to carbon ratio and stuff like that. I mean, but when we sit back and we look at nature, she's not out there turning a compost pile or worried about pH or specifically grabbing, certain microbes. The bad is the good and the good is the bad. A little bit of, of each, keeping that balance there. Poison, too much of it will kill you. A little bit of it is medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just I'm just wanting to share with for those of our viewers that are living in the Valley here, who maybe have seen you around and don't know you, Kyle is a wealth of knowledge. This guy is super humble. He's not going to come at you and hey, let me do this for you. But this guy has so much information. Yeah. I mean, I really am, Kyle. I really feel this way. You've shown me, taught me so much in this short time and helped our farm so much. And so I really want to encourage people to reach out to you and teach, if you're open to teaching more in the Valley here.
Yeah. Teaching is, to teach is to relearn. So, I'm consistently learning as well. Especially about the types of plants out here, the flora, and it's just a learning experience that continues. We stop learning, we're already dead. So, continuing learning and getting more information, and it's it's evolving. These type of systems, again, implementing them. Up against other systems. I mean, this is permaculture. heaven, epicenter. People from all around the world come to Costa Rica to learn, permaculture, and that's a lifestyle. Like Korean natural farming, it's a lifestyle. We can read about it, but applying it is that's where the true power.
Well, and I think they really work well together. I mean, permaculture, and permaculture is often misunderstood, but it's actually a system of design, and people don't always understand that. When they think of permaculture, they think it's actually a type of farming. It's not actually a type of farming. It's a way of looking at things and a way of designing things. But Korean natural farming, to me, fits right in. It's just permaculture's the screen, and this is when think about the Zoom screen. Korean natural farming is just one of the people watching. It's one of the little people. Anyway, that's a weird analogy, but
I like it though.
It's very COVID, informed reality.
I got a good visual.
Okay,
that one.
Okay, and speaking of learning new things, so I know you're kind of new. You've decided to settle here, actually.
Until they kick me out,
Hopefully.
No. Yes, I'm here. I'm here indefinite, and there's lots of I have lots of work to do here in the Machuca Valley between La Ecovia, Alegria. Working a few jobs up there. Skeeters everywhere, and really integrating with the local tico is important, and so I've learned a lot being here.
You didn't come here. You didn't speak Spanish. So this is a big learning curve for you, like in learning a new culture, learning a new language, and I'm just curious, like, what's that been like for you?
Oh well, it's coming in here, guns a-blazing, like John Wayne, like I want to help everybody, I want to help. But Costa Rica's like, slow down. That's not good. That's not how it works here, But my American mentality of let's get this done, let's get it done. Toda vida.
Right, the pyramid is definitely a slower way of life, which is actually
better. I mean, I love it. That's why I choose to be here.
But it does take some time to slow it down. I mean, I remember I smoked a lot of weed for years to actually bring myself to the level. I don't even actually smoke much cannabis anymore because I don't need it here. Like when I'm surrounded by these trees, I've learned to slow myself down. My whole nervous system, my whole life has slowed down so much. Being here and being around these trees have healed me in a way that is I needed that kind of medicine back in the States to just to keep myself kind of calm a little bit. And then coming here even to be on the level that people are naturally moving on here, because my Western brain was just constantly like you said, immediately I need this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. It was actually just we don't have to fast. We can go a little slower and we can just enjoy, this bird, or whatever.
And observation too. I mean, as you were here and things are working a little bit slower, and we're taking in all this beautiful trees and fauna and animals. It's a humbling experience, into slowing us down. I mean, our lives are wild. We go to work, we have to pay insurance. It's stressful, and so a lot of people, I think, come to Costa Rica to kind of alleviate that. And this is especially in the Machuca Valley here. It has been some of the best medicine that I could ever ask for.
I feel I think just what I'm feeling is what you just said about seeing all the animals and the flowers and the different kind of flora and fauna is you realize that sometimes I think we forget that we're not the only things here. Humans are not the only thing on this planet. It's hard to remember that sometimes when you're in a city, for instance, in the US, where there's literally no other animals except dogs and cats, and mice maybe, or there's occasionally birds, but even in only half the year because they're hybrid, whatever. It's migrating and hibernating and stuff because it's so cold up there. But here it's just constant. You're seeing it's easy to remember the monkeys and easy to remember the sloths and the various types of birds because they're very present here. And that's, I think, what people love about Costa Rica is they come to see all these animals, but it's more than just seeing a new animal. It's an actual it's a reminder that wow, we're sharing this planet with a whole lot of other things. And I think it's just more, we're always and everywhere we're doing this, but I think here it's just more more obvious.
Yeah.
And I know you grew up. You told me once that you've lived in Japan for a while. You were a military brat, or
Yep. My mother was a naval officer for several years, one of the first in the 80s. A very, very strong, powerful woman. My dad was a Marine as well. So they had my brother in Puerto Rico, and then I was born in San Diego, California. And after a couple years, we were stationed in Japan for about 6 years.
6 years.
So most of my young childhood.
Yeah, so I was going to say, what part of your life?
From about 2 to 9.
2 to 9.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Around there, yeah.
And so was it easier? You started learning Japanese language?
Skoshi, a little bit. Of course, that's like the only thing I've retained, if you skoshi.
Because everyone asks you this question.
Because everyone asks me the question, skoshi.
Skoshi. I'm going to start saying that too when people ask me.
And because we lived primarily on a Navy base, everybody spoke English there. And so, I picked up a little bit of Japanese, but, I have lots of really great memories. And some of my first farming experiences, seeing these old Japanese ladies digging sweet potatoes, at a sweet potato farm is just, one of my first memories. And so, and Japan in itself is just a beautiful, incredible place or credible place because it's there and we can see it. Incredible.
That means not credible.
Yeah, exactly.
Not credible.
So,
it is credible.
It is credible.
Credible culture.
So we use
legit.
It is definitely legit. And just beautiful place. If anybody ever has a chance to go, please, I'd advise you to go to Japan at least once.
And where did you live in Japan? Because I know it's kind of different micro regions.
Yeah, so we were mainly at the Navy base, the military base at Tsugi. And so there were a couple of different bases that we'd go around to. Being a younger kid, we had the McDonald's, and then the Army base had a Burger King, and then the other place had a Popeye, so we'd have to go and to eat these American type foods. And I remember when we were moving, I know it's so funny, it's so horrible. Yeah, but the McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken, it was just a 5-star restaurant there. Really,
really
wild. Yeah. Oh yeah, super cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. The food's just at much higher quality and just different, and they just do some really weird stuff. But I remember asking my mom, because we were moving back to the States, I said, Mom, is there going to be a Burger King there? She's like, honey, this is home of the Burger King. I'm like, yes, this is great. I don't eat Burger King anymore.
Kyle,
it's delicious.
When I was 18, I worked at Burger King for over a year. I was over for over a year, and it was one of the most awful experiences. I learned and met some cool people, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but good for you.
The smell that I would come home, my clothes, I still can smell it to this day. The smell of my clothes, the grease when I would come home. Oh my God. Anyways.
But a good experience. I think everybody should be working. Everybody should have at least one job in the food industry.
Did you ever have one?
Yeah. I was a chef for a few years at some prestigious schools, Vanderbilt, mainly at what's the college? The Bruins. Geez, I'm having a brain fart.
Where?
In Nashville.
The college?
Yeah, the popular one, Belmont.
Oh, Belmont University.
Yeah, I was a chef.
Which is Belmont University has a big music program and a big nursing program.
Mm-hmm. And then went over to David Lipscomb and. So
you were working at schools as a chef?
As a chef, yeah, doing some catering work there, and
cool.
Worked in a few restaurants, kind of that stuff. Hungry people are mean people. But I lost my love for cooking because I was doing it all the time, and but that was a good, stint in my life and a good experience. Just learning, take care of the people who are making your food, don't piss them off.
Right. And is that where you got into? Because I was the other day, I ran into Kyle in town, and he's like, I was like, Kyle, you still doing that hot sauce business? Because he was when he first got, he was slanging hot sauce, and he's like, well, yeah, I got hot sauce. Put out 3 different kinds of hot sauce. He's like, this one's got these peppers, this one's got these peppers. Dude, I'm impressed with your knowledge, and I honestly the amount of peppers you said. Yeah, you've got a lot of different genetics and
Yeah. We brought some. We have some really cool peppers here, and I mean, lots of other products too that you can make. With the like capsaicin salves and things like that. Not just hot sauces, but pesticides and things like that.
But you're still doing the hot sauce. That's something.
Still rocking the hot sauce. Yeah. It's got
sauce. Come on, this guy.
Yeah, it's hot. I've been told that
It's
not
hot.
It's hot.
It is hot sauce.
But I'm making some mild ones too, though. So I've had special requests to tone it down a little bit.
Well, I mean, I just don't know if a jalapeno and whatever. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay, well, I mean, I'm so what's like the future for you? What do you see here? What are you passionate about right now?
Sure. So right now the rainy season's coming here, so planting. I'm working with a couple of people in Alegria on their food plots, and again, bringing this information to the locals here could really benefit and use it. These ultra low cost farming techniques are for farmers who don't have a lot of money, but they're tried and true. And so bringing this knowledge here again, it's taken a little bit of time. I'm coming to a place where permaculture is so this is again one of the epicenters. People from all around the world come here to learn specifically.
Right, inspired by Stephen and Stephen Brooks and like his and he's a permaculture teacher.
And his vision, yeah. And so coming at it with an open heart and an open mind. Being very respectful and just kind of earning my way through the ranks. Again, coming in here like. Of course, all I want to do is really help, but, you have to, again, gain the trust of locals and, our actions speak louder than words. And so, proving and showing like, hey, these techniques actually work and anybody can integrate them to not just their farm, but to their lives.
Yeah. And I know, one of the things I know about you is that like I know you're passionate about it because you've showed up here just to help out at times, like just because you wanted to actually help. And that's different than somebody that's just looking for a job. Like we have a lot of people here who do whatever for work, but like it's different when you have people who are like actually passionate about something.
Yeah.
So.
And you can tell that they are, and if they want to be here or if they don't, if they want to work or if they won't.
Yeah. Definitely.
To flip the script, what about Finca Vida Verde? Like, what's the future for here? What's the next thing? I mean, you're doing this amazing podcast. It's super cool.
Yeah, this has been fun. This podcast has been a really fun new thing. Well, right now we're in the investment phase. I'm getting all investor materials together so we can do another round of investment.
Cool.
So that we can raise the money to complete the vision. And the vision, as you're asking, is to, well, we have the opportunity to grow our land. So we have the opportunity to buy a piece of land nearby, which is very exciting. That's the most exciting thing for me. So that would be the first thing. The overall vision is to have it's an eco-educational retreat center. I want to be, we have a lot of permaculture educators. We have herbal educators. We've got astrologers. We've got yoga teachers. We've got Korean natural farming educators. I want to have this will be the center where people can teach those courses and their guests can stay in comfort. So we have some, the next phases are going to be a couple more cabins. We've got some renovation on the old farmhouse. We've got a yoga deck, a lodge, and another exciting kind of a side project, but also involved in this project is our cafe. We're opening a public cafe. Right on the main Taco Tall Road.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, this is everything. That's so great. Excited about what's going on. And, having also growing as much as possible of our food right here on the land. I mean, I've been kind of planting it out. Like, my philosophy has been like, don't leave yards. I know this is kind of cliche. People say it now, but like, why have a yard when you can have food growing? I mean, it's good to leave a little bit of space for for like a lawn to chill out on, like, and that's good. You design that in, but like the rest of it to me is to just grow all the food. And that's really what I'm passionate about. Yeah.
It's good. Well, I mean, the diversity here in plants is, Finca Verde Verde is just very unique, unlike a lot of the farms around here. Not that, they're one's better than the other, but this is just an amazing place that I'm very lucky to be a part of.
Well, I'm so the farm loves having you here, Kyle. In fact, we planted a tree earlier. We planted a longan, which is like kind of like a mamon type of fruit, really sweet. And yeah, I mean, I've been collecting plants here for a lot of years. I mean, I kind of see this, for me, this is kind of also operating as a plant library. Stephen Brooks started a plant library in Punta Mona. Have you been to Punta Mona yet?
I have not yet.
Well, one day we'll go out there.
I've heard.
You'll love it. It's beautiful. I mean, Stephen's been collecting plants out there for, 25, almost 30 years, and just creating a battery of plants. And I brought a lot of those here, and then also from various other places I've been, and collecting them, and then creating a space where also people we can share them with other community members. Because the idea is to have food growing locally, and not be importing food at all, really, if possible. And I love the idea of the Korean natural farming, because I think it fits right into that, because we need cheap, like you said, we need ways to create fertilizer. I planted a row of corn just right over there at one point, and everyone was like, what are you going to fertilize it with? You have to fertilize it. And I was like, I'm not going to fertilize it. I'm going to, but so I learned about some local methods with compost, and you can compost pile on top of it. But I think if we had some more nutrient dense, microbiome rich compost, it actually would have been more beneficial. And of course,
the monkeys came.
The monkeys came and harvested every ear of corn before it was really even ready. I mean, it was a week away, and they didn't even eat most of it. It was just on the ground. So
they appreciated it, though.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
And we share a lot of food here with the animals and the creatures, and So.
Yeah, I like them. I love the monkeys. I like that they come here, and I also feel like Costa Rica, it's a biodiverse area, and one thing I feel like is but humans also have to eat, and it's there's a lot, people are always planting food for monkeys and stuff, and it's great. We definitely need to leave these corridors, and we definitely need to have you leave the canopies for these animals and their food sources. At the same time, humans need to eat, and we don't need to be importing our food. We could be eating way more locally, and so that's kind of my vision here is get as much growing here as possible, so that we don't need to import as much. And you know how much food it takes to feed people. People are always is your whole community eating off the grid? It's hopefully one day, but
it takes a while to implement that and close the loop, as we say, to your farm. And that way you're not, you don't have to really go anywhere. You have all your food here. You have everything that you need, as long as you have internet,
Yeah, I know, but it's just a lot when you have a big group or something. It's
people eat a lot of food.
Yeah, you think about how many eggs, for instance, one group, a group of 20 people, they just 2 eggs each. That's 8. It's 40 eggs. You know what I mean? There's no chicken that lays 40 eggs a day. That's a lot of chickens to raise 40.
You don't have any chickens around.
Well, no, I've chosen not to because we had, there's predators around, and until we have a legit chicken coop and a farm manager to help manage those things, because my energy and focus is in the overall project development. And so that's going to be another part of the next level. It's not just building the structures, but also bringing in the people to help kind of really get this place up to.
Well, and that also gives opportunity to support a local chicken farmer, as well. We don't all have to have chickens. Maybe one person has chickens, this person has goats, this is. So, and that's, brings the community together, and again, has more diversity.
Yeah, no, and you're right about that. I'm very aware of where the food comes from. I get all of my food from very few sources. If what doesn't come from here, we get weekly from a farm up in Zarcero called Finca Tierra de Sueños, and they're amazing organic farmers, third generation organic farmers. They deliver to this area. They deliver all over our communities. Like this is a dream. Even during COVID, I didn't have to leave the valley. I literally would walk down the street, fill my backpack up with my weekly order of organic food grown from my neighbors, and I'd walk back home, and I didn't have to leave. Yeah. I mean, the inputs that I did, I remember it was like olive oil and coconut oil we imported, because the coconut, I wasn't happy with the local coconut oil. But the olive oil, it doesn't grow here. Yeah. So, it's things like that. But I'm more and more, I'm hoping that we get some other people around here, producers that are creating high quality products because there's a niche, there's an opportunity. It just needs to be done, quality and right, So, Kyle, it's been super fun having you here. I'm excited for more Korean natural farming workshops here, and I've just been great talking with you. Thank you so much again for
I appreciate
everything.
You are a very important part of my life, and this farm is as well, and just very honored to call you a friend.
Likewise, brother. Thank you. All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of La Vida Verde podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, La Vida Verde Podcasts. We also have a Patreon. We would love your support if you feel like supporting us, because these things the equipment costs money and stuff like that. Patreon.com, and it's La Vida Verde Podcast. Our Instagram is finca_vida_verde. Please follow us and subscribe to all these things. We're having a great time. It's been a lot of fun, and we're not done yet, so stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming soon. Thank you so much. I'm Matthew Human. This is Kyle Perry, and we'll see you next time.
Pura vida.
Pura vida.